I don't believe in putting out a bunch of songs that aren't going to meet qualifications to be, hit songs. Like I liked
Hmm.
a little bit of melodic, like Nasty was a little bit more, Bay Area, West Side sounding. Right now I'm working on a better sound quality because, you're not going to make it to, crazy numbers on Billboard if your sound isn't, perfectly there.
Hey everyone, how's it going? On this episode of the KDigitals podcast, you're here with me and Tin Kid. As you know, the point of this podcast is to really, dive into artists, their origin stories, their style, and their process. And today we're about to learn more about TKs. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. Getting the day started. Um, hopefully work on some music today, but overall doing pretty well so far.
Hmm. For sure. Well, cool, dude. Every podcast I have, right, it's a podcast for any other artist, and I always want to start off with letting the artist kind of define themselves. So I would say you're a rapper, but how would you define your style, yourself, what you are?
I define it as I definitely started in more of a harder rap scene for sure. When I first started doing music, but now I've kind of through influences and other things I've kind of brought it over a little bit into the pop genre too. Some of my artists that I like the Kid Leroy, Juice World, obviously, and a couple of those. So getting more of that melodic, getting into the more melodic side of the rap game is definitely the choice that I want to go right now, and it's definitely I'm building on that as I go.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah, and the melody thing, like, so obviously, like, there's like auto tune and all this stuff, but
Yeah,
there's a video of you on Instagram where you're just doing it like live in like a parking garage. It's like, oh, you're actually singing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. So yeah, everything I've been doing, so I engineer all my own stuff. So um, I know how the auto tune plugins work, and a common misconception is that you know auto tune can fix somebody that can't sing, and like that's not necessarily true because you still have to
Okay.
hit those target notes. So like I've been working on my voice for a while now. I've always wanted to kind of bring a little bit of singing in. I just never had it. Um, and then recently I've just been practicing, listening to different artists, kind of trying to match the styles and kind of get a new edge on my voice. So then I brought my girlfriend into that parking garage and
Mhm.
had my friend record something that we did together, kind of a live performance kind of a deal. And I liked the
Mhm.
reverb in the parking garage, so it helped it a lot. And then I
Mhm.
posted it, and it went kind of crazy. So
Mhm. So yeah, I mean, like you have those like the Instagram stories and everything where like there's just people singing to your song,
yeah,
doing dances to it and all that.
yeah.
I guess, how was that for you initially, and then how is that for you now? Like, is that like high still there? You're like, okay, that's just part of the process.
Yeah, so a lot of that is also marketing as well. But yeah, no, when I get somebody, I love everybody that listens to my music. Like I never ignore a fan. So I'll get DMs of people sending me that kind of stuff, TikToks made of my song, and I'm always on it. I'm checking through it every day, seeing what people have to say. Um, and showing the world that people, if you're new to my page, you can go on those and see that people actually rock with my music. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that's definitely like it's definitely a marketing thing, but yeah, it also like still to this day, if somebody new sends me something, dancing, and I show it to my friends. I'm like, hey, somebody else likes my music, and it every new fan is still, it still feels the same, and I think it will continue to feel that way for a long time. Because I love everybody who listens to my music, everybody that supports me like that, and
Mhm.
it's definitely still brings that warmness, like somebody else is appreciating my music.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. So to take a step back, right? Like, how did you even like get involved in like music in general? Like, whether it was rapping first or singing first?
So I've loved music ever since I was a kid. I used to
Mhm.
retain lyrics really well.
Mhm.
So my parents were, then I started playing instruments. My parents were kind of pushing me to like play different instruments and get around. So I kind of got that, you know melodic side down as a kid.
Mhm.
And then I started, some of my friends in high school, they wanted to start a little rap group, and I was like, oh, like I'm kind of down for this, like whatever.
Okay.
So they started their own little home setup. So I went out and I bought like a $20 mic set up everything for it, and then I went into my parents' bathroom um, with Audacity and just started recording.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it was
That's how it started.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely humble beginnings from the music when I started making that, and then eventually I started working a part-time job at like a burger place, and I just started putting more money into the studio, kind of building it up because I heard people around, like it was still trash music, but people were like, okay, you could possibly move forward with this, and I went off of that, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna invest into the future of this, and I got some better equipment, started learning how to do some things myself, and then recently I started taking it pretty seriously with the marketing and everything, and it's built it up quite a bit, and I like where I'm at, and I like where I'm going, and hopefully I can make the right decisions going forward.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you have a good point there. It's like there's obviously if you have all the equipment, that's gonna be nice, right? But if you can still accomplish that without the equipment, then it's like okay, well at that point it's just the equipment is just gonna accelerate that, you
Yeah,
know? That's
exactly.
hella dope. Okay. Dope. So then what is the plan then going forward, right? You invested in this, what are you trying to get to?
Right now, honestly, I'm trying to get more into engineering. So I like, there's only a certain limit to what somebody can put out as far as sound quality. So right now I'm working on a better sound quality because you're not going to make it to crazy numbers on Billboard if your sound isn't perfectly there, right? So right now I've been trying, I'm actually in school for it right now to take a engineering class to kind of get that that crispness of the sound and get everything going, because I think that helps a lot, and that's what I think a lot of artists don't realize is you
Hmm.
can put out 10 songs a day, but if they, if people aren't going to listen to them because it sounds, different, or sounds not necessarily different, but it's not clear, and you don't get that engineering done right, not that many people are going to listen to it. It has a lot more potential if it, lyrics don't matter, melody doesn't matter. If it sounds like a song, people are going to listen to it like a song. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And
Hmm.
so as I get better in engineering, I think it picks up more people, and it
Hmm.
just people take you more seriously as an artist.
Hmm. Hmm. For sure. So I think that's a good segue like on sound, right? So when you go through like your Spotify, right?
Yeah,
You have like On Me and you have Rich, really very like upbeat summertime kind
yeah,
of jams, and then you also have like Nasty, which is completely like more maybe trap sound or more
yeah.
darker vibes. I guess how did you go from like the super upbeat to that? Like how do you jump back and forth between that and just like make it work?
Honestly, it's more of me just finding a beat. I'm pretty versatile when it comes to flows like that. If somebody will
Hmm.
want to feature with me, and I'm like, okay, let me hear like your sound, and usually I can bring my side over into that sound. Um, so shout out my bro Germ. He was up in Chico with my boy Omar, and he was like, "Hey, let's get on a song," and he sent me a beat, and I was like, "I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna hit this," and then
Okay.
eventually I figured it out, and me and him hopped it on, and then it did really well because I had some of his fans, come over, and some of my fans went over to his, so it was a nice deal. But honestly, the biggest thing is probably if the beat speaks to you. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter what flow I'm gonna hit it with. If I'm hearing the beat and I can just super vibe with it, I know what I'm gonna do. I don't have a specific flow. Like I like
Hmm.
the little bit of melodic. Like Nasty was a little bit more, Bay Area, West Side sounding.
Hmm.
It all just happens if I'm sitting there and the beat just, it's just a vibe, and I can sit there and like, my mind just starts going. So it's not really like I have a specific, style.
Hmm.
I'm pretty much I can form to anything, which I think is pretty cool that I've developed that over the years because I started with that kind of nasty vibe, and then I
Hmm.
switched it over to melodic, and then I started getting into singing like Rich. Um, but yeah, so I'm pretty versatile when it comes to that. So it's whatever the beat makes me think of.
Hmm. For sure. Okay. So then what's your writing process like? Do you start with like you just have like a book full of lyrics and then you try to make that work, or you build a beat on top of that, or the other way around?
So yeah, so I started the other way around. So I find a beat, I browse through beats, and if I find one I vibe with, I just kind of sit there with my headphones. I kind of feel it out, get kind of what I want a melody for a hook to kind of be. I might even go up to
Mhm.
the mic and just kind of freestyle a melody, no words, just kind of hum it into the mic, and then fill out,
Mm.
and then I could fill out those words,
Mhm.
where I want them to be, the syllables, all that stuff. That's
Mhm.
usually how I do it. Um,
Mhm.
so I'll feel it out. I'll feel the beat for like 10 minutes, and then I'll just go up and kind of hum into the mic and see what sounds good, and just fill it out with words.
Mhm. For sure. No, cool, man. So to kind of pick it up a little bit more. So like when we're talking about like Nasty right now, you're like, oh yeah, this is my boy Germ. That was more like Bay Area sound.
Yeah.
So then if you're in the Bay Area and that's the Bay Area sound, what is your other song? Like how would you define your sound then? Like would you say Bay Area influences you or you're more something else?
Bay Area definitely influences me. I've listened to a ton of Bay Area artists, so I kind of bring that um, into my melodic music too.
Hmm.
I try not to stay super Bay Area though, and the reason for that is Bay Area artists mostly stay in the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I totally with Nasty and all that. I love doing the Bay music because I'm part of the Bay and born and raised here. So it's cool to get that recognition, like Bay people turning up. But it's also the fact that if I were to blow up on a Bay Area vibe, it would pretty much stay in the Bay Area. Like SOB
Mm.
and Mozzie are pretty much I'd say some of the biggest Bay Area rappers, and they made it to a worldwide thing. But you look at like other smaller rappers from the Bay Area, and it's pretty much just a Bay Area audience. So I want to try to expand that to see, to try to bring a little bit of that Bay influence out, switch it up once in a while. But
Hmm.
for the main part, I'm trying to attract those fans that come from all over, from kind of the music that's popping right now, kind of bring them over,
Hmm.
and then bring that Bay Area influence a little bit more widespread.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So that's kind of what makes you kind of competitive too, is the fact that, there is a little bit different like sauce in there. That's
Yeah,
not just the same rehash.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Hmm. Okay. So then do you have a Bay Area audience or do you have audiences? I mean, obviously people are posting your songs like outside of the Bay, I guess where's like another area where you're like, oh, that's somewhere I want to try to take over, or like try to expand that audience into.
Definitely. Oregon's been popping for me lately.
Oregon. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how it got there, but it's spreading around pretty nice. Um, Definitely Bay Area definitely takes the cake though as far as listeners. San Francisco, San Jose, my hometown, and then Antioch. I got a couple listeners there too. That rank pretty high on my Spotify. But yeah, I mean, I get worldwide too. Like, I think it was either Nasty or On Me had a ton of listeners in like Germany for some reason. That didn't make much sense to me. But I
Hmm.
looked into it and I reached out to a couple of people that followed me, and I was like, "Hey, how'd you guys listen to my music?" And they were like, "Oh, it popped up on SoundCloud." Um, and it kind of just took off over there, and it kind of confused me. But I was like, "All right, let's work with it. That's
I'll
sick."
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. That's all dope. Well, that's cool, dude. To go from like, so were you born in San Jose then, right? Where you grew up
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
So then to go from like that to all of a sudden just like, yeah, people in Germany are talking about me. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I'll take, yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally cool. Quick, kind of like small hard left. One thing I
Yeah.
wanted to look into was like, I brought up like On Me and Rich, right?
Yeah.
Those two kind of have like very cool looking, I guess we call them album covers, single
Yeah.
covers, Spotify
Yeah.
covers. How did that come to be? Did you make those? Did your buddy make, like, how did that?
So I have my guy on Instagram. His name is Giuseppe Migliosi. Um, he does a lot of album covers and stuff like that, and super talented guy. And I connected with him because I am Italian, mixed in Italian. So um,
Mhm.
I definitely so I was like Giuseppe. I was like, all right. So he lives in Italy, and I hit him up and I was like, hey, bro, I want this. I want this. I want this. I kind of gave him a vision. For Rich, I was like, I kind of want that retro, that vibe with the Lamborghini, because like obviously like the song was Rich. Um, and then he sent me a couple rough drafts back, and I kind of told him, I was like, I want to go this direction, and he
Mhm.
finally did it. And honestly, I get most of my cover art. The only one I haven't done from him in the last like year and a half was Next Up,
Mhm.
which I took in my friend's
Mhm.
backyard after we got out the pool.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so he does all of my stuff. He's super good. His return time is super quick. Super good graphic artist.
Mhm. So you really do think about like this a lot then, because it's clear like you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I want to try a different sound, and I also want to throw
Yeah,
melodies in there. And I also think about engineering, and I gotta make sure the album covers look sick. And it's like,
yeah.
damn man, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's taxing. It definitely puts a pause because I see these artists releasing songs every 2-3 weeks, but I don't like everybody says quantity over quality for rap when you first start, and I don't like I can't like I'm when it comes to that I'm a perfectionist.
Mhm.
So I need to have my landing page, everything perfect before I drop a song, everything updated. Um,
Mhm.
so when like Rich and stuff happened, I that one was actually that song I didn't engineer myself. Lil Mosey's engineer actually did that. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I contacted him. I got him on it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this to another level. I'm gonna try to get that sound, that new sound out of it. Um,
Mhm.
and you can definitely hear it a little bit when you listen to that song when you know that. Um,
Mhm.
you can kind of hear that airiness coming out. Um, but yeah, then I needed that album cover. I put the lyrics on Genius. I had everything set up. So the more professional you come
Oh
off as,
shit.
yeah, the more
Mm.
professional you come off as, the more people you're gonna attract in, and that are gonna take you seriously. So I really believe in that. So I spend more time on the quality. I'll release like maybe 6 songs a year at like tops, but they're gonna be quality. I can't. I don't believe in putting out a bunch of songs that aren't gonna meet qualifications to be, hit songs.
Mhm. Okay. Very cool. That's hella dope. Well, so I know we're out of time, and I think that's a good like segue for the last question is
Yeah.
so because you're such a perfectionist, right? And you're putting a lot of like effort into like everything you do, I guess how do you know when a song is ready? Like
Um,
be
I
the
really,
song.
I really just I go around and I show some of my really close fans, the ones that have been with me for a really long time. I've got like 10, and then I've got all my friends, and I'll have everybody listen to it with headphones, make sure everything's mixed right, everything, nothing stands out to them like super bad. I get all my stuff done, and I'll show my fans, a couple of my fans. I'll preview it. I'll see what people think. If people aren't really rocking with it, I'll see what I can change. Um,
Mhm.
and kind of get everything dialed in. So you can't trying to please everybody isn't going to work. Um, but even if a quote that I heard a long time ago, even if 1 in 10 people like what you produce, you're still successful. Like in the long run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So really, I mean, not everybody's gonna like your stuff, but if you can get a 10%, 15, 20% of people liking that song and really giving you their honest feedback, and if they like it, it has the potential. So you wanna weigh those. You wanna kind of get that math down.
Mhm.
If 15 percent of my fans like this, 20%. I try to keep it around 30% just to make sure that it's solid and
Mhm.
that it can go places if I want it to, and it's a good thing to spend and invest money on. Um,
Mhm.
then I'll go ahead and do that. But if it's not receiving that, I'll pull the song back and bring it into the studio for a little more, maybe change up the flow, change up the melody, um,
Mhm.
give the beat some cuts or something to make it a little bit harder, a little bit more more of a vibe. Then I'll do that.
Mhm. For sure. I appreciate it, man. That was a cool interview.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
problem.
good gold in there for sure.
Yeah.
So well, hey man, to wrap it up then, where can people go and find you at? Like, where are the best places to listen to you?
So obviously, first off, my Instagram is at Tank Kid with a period in the middle. It's Tank Kid stands for TK, or TK stands for Tank Kid.
Yeah.
From San Jose. All my Spotify, SoundCloud, everything's the same. TK space 408. My music will pop up if you do that. Um, yeah, that's pretty much. And then all of my links, if you want to find out my newest songs, obviously everything's on my Instagram. I have the link in my bio, and everybody can go check me out there.
For sure. Well, hey man, TK Tank Kid, I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah,
I'll
of
give you
course.
back your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, you too, man.
All right, thanks, bud. Talk soon.